This is the Strat-O-Matic Baseball Excel 1970-73 Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Trawler YouTube channel.
Welcome back, baseball fans, to the 1970-73 Carryover League. We are in the American League today, and we have a series between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Milwaukee Brewers. Last place teams a year ago in their respective divisions in a time, well, Toronto didn't have a time. They didn't exist until 1977, so their entire roster is contrived, of course. Milwaukee didn't come into existence until 1970. They inherited a lot of the '69 Seattle Pilots. So this is definitely a matchup that a little lackluster here, but it's pretty fair competition, and competition is what makes a good baseball game. So we've seen some of that. The pluses and minuses that each team have and how to exploit the opponent if they can. And we've had some rather interesting games played to this point. Let's get right into the rather absurd Game 1. And this is one of the more ridiculous baseball games played. Let me just go to the final score. Toronto wins 8-7 with a walk-off homer. Get that out of the way, because what led up to it is just very bizarre. So your starting pitchers are Bill Parsons for Milwaukee and Paul Splittorff for Toronto, both number 2 starters. By the way, Colburn, Bill Parsons, and Mike Torres for the Brewers can all pitch on 3 days rest if necessary. None of Toronto's pitchers can. They're all good, but none can pitch on 3 days rest, which also means you have a short bullpen of just 3 guys, so they try and push their starters as far as they can into the 5th, 6th, 7th inning possible. Game opens up with Milwaukee getting single and a series of single, not wanting to run against good throwing arms in Toronto's outfield, and single dots. So it's a single, single, single to load the bases, then a single, 4 straight singles, scores 1 run, and then Splittorff retires the next 3 guys. Then in the second inning, Splittorff does kind of the same thing. A single on out, a single, the runners on the corners, a sac fly, then 2 more singles, they get stranded. So worst case scenario for Milwaukee is 8 hits, all singles in 2 innings, just 2 runs. While this is going on, Bill Parsons is cruising through 7 innings. Now, would Paul Splittorff hit his point of weakness? He's a starter 7, but if a pitcher gives up too many runs early in the game, I'll consider him to be broken and pull him. But like I said before, Toronto doesn't have a long bullpen because they need 5 starters. So Splittorff keeps getting pushed because he's not giving up runs, just singles. In the 3rd inning, his 9th hit. In the 4th inning, his 10th hit. In the 5th inning, 11th and 12th hits. Now he's barely skating away without giving up any runs and without hitting that point of weakness until the 6th inning. And sure enough, in that 6th inning, as soon as he hits it, boom, what would have been a strikeout turns into single ... there. So it's almost immediately that rule is used and it burns Splittorff. And he's just in there at this point with nothing on the mound and has to finish his inning to save the bullpen. It's now 7-zip, and it seems like just, Toronto being exposed for not having a deep pitching staff. And it's going to be a 7-0 final. The Blue Jays had other plans. They got a run in the 7th, RBI single after a triple at 7-1. 8th inning, Parsons walks the first batter, and with a 7-1 lead, Milwaukee goes to their bullpen, a couple doubles, and now it's 7-3. Still a comfortable lead. We go to the 9th. John Gellner and the closer Ken Sanders available. Gellner starts the inning with a ground out, a walk, a fielder's choice, and there's 2 outs. They just need to get 1 more out. They hit a ground ball to George Scott, a 1 first baseman, and he makes an error. And what should have been the end of the game continues. And then a single, and then a single, and then they bring in Ken Sanders, the all-star closer for the Brewers, to face Jim Brazil. 1-5, walk-off home run. And in a stunning game, the Toronto Blue Jays win 8-7 when they were down 7-0 in this. Really, these are both the last-place teams, so it's hard to understand one team's overachievement and the other team's underachievement in this regard. But the Milwaukee Brewers, 7 runs on 20 hits. They had 20 hits in this game, and they lost 8-7. Toronto, 8 runs on 10 hits. So a magical win for the Toronto Blue Jays at this point. Milwaukee's season, they have the worst record in baseball. They're a bad team, and they're losing. Not a good combination. So what happens after this? You're thinking Toronto's going to sweep them, right? Well, game number 2, Milwaukee comes right out in the first inning with a 3-run homer by Johnny Briggs. An RBI single in the 4th by Scott. It's 4-0. This time, Jim Colburn holds on, gives up 2 solo homers, and Milwaukee gets a split in Toronto, 4-2. They probably could have won 2 straight, but a split is still good. Bill Zepp, Toronto's starter, actually went all 9 innings to keep that bullpen fresh. So the series goes to Milwaukee. They have home field now. Game 231. The Brewers win 7-4. Again, the pitching shortness. Phoebus in the 5th inning had to stay in there. And look at the singles again. Single, single, single. A bunch of singles by the Brewers here. It's 7-4 is the final. And you get the feeling that Milwaukee really let this series slip away. This should have been a sweep. But they let that game 1 get away. And now they want to win game 4 at home and win this series 3-1 just to win a series because they've had such a dismal year. And for Toronto, the jubilation of winning game 1 and getting 1 game under 500, which is remarkable to be anywhere near 500, they quickly lose the next 2. So today in game 4, for Toronto, it's number 5 starter, Rom Klimkowski. This is already his 3rd start because Toronto keeps extending series to the maximum number of games, so they're not getting any extra days off. So they have to keep rotating through these 5 starters and have to go with a 3-man bullpen. In hindsight, they probably should have drafted a guy who can pitch on 3 days rest somewhere in here. They didn't do it. But the 5 guys are good as a trade-off. And for the Milwaukee Brewers, it's Mike Torres, who was acquired in the George Scott deal in the offseason. Let's get started. From Milwaukee, the Brewers haven't won a series all year. They have a chance to do it today. And it'll be Terry Crowley leading off for the Blue Jays. 4-10, homer 1-5 off Torres. Misses it, rolls a 7. Dan Monson, 6'11", pitcher X. Torres is an E6 pitcher. Makes the play. Milt May, 56. Skies are right. All right, bottom of the 1st. Milwaukee has not had a shortage of hits in the series, maybe runs, but plenty of hits in every game at this point. Darryl Porter, 48's a walk. It'll be JLU. 2-7 is a single to center field. Porter holds a second. First and second for Don Mincher. 2-3, third B. Fielder's choice. Runners on the corners for Jim Fregosi. 37 is a walk. The bases are loaded for Johnny Briggs with 1 out. 5-10 off Klimkowski is a catcher's card. Mays a 2-6. That'll be a wild pitch, and I'll get an unearned run. So now you have second and third after the wild pitch. And 2 outs for George Scott. 33, grounds to third. Well, the Brewers have had the lead in every game. They're 24 outs away from a series win. Jim Brazil leads off in the second. 57, Sky's the center. Tommy Agee, 65, pops the first. Mike Lum, 56, Sky's the right. Bottom of 2, Steve Hovley, 36 is a K. Jerry McNertney, 67, lines the first. Dick Schofield, played for Toronto last year, was signed by Milwaukee this year. 56, double 1 to 4 off Klimkowski is a single. And Darrell Porter, 49 is a K. We go to the third. Bill Voss, 65, pops the third. Carl Taylor, 35 is a walk. Darrell Cheney, 1-3 is hit by the pitch. 2 on, 1 out for Terry Crowley. 4-10 off Torres, homer 1 of 5, fly ball the rest, and he misses the 3-run homer by a couple numbers there. Tough break there for Toronto. And with 2 outs, it's Dan Monson. 2-3, rounds the third. It stays 1-zip. Bottom of the third, J.L. Liu. 38's a single. Don Mincher, 67, Sky's the right. Jim Fregosi, 68, pops to second. And Johnny Briggs, 6'10", Sky's the center field. AG is a 1E14 IE rating. And that will come to bite him right there. The one disappointing part of Tommy's card is E rating, E14 in center. And that is a 2-base error. Not a good time for that. Second and third, 2 outs for George Scott. Let's take a look at George Scott's card. Interesting odyssey between Boston and Milwaukee and Boston and Milwaukee. This is the 1970 card of George Scott, which would have been for the Red Sox. But it just didn't make sense for the Red Sox to continue with clogging up the corners in the outfield. You had Petrocelli moving to third. Scott was great at first, not good at third, but you'd like to put Yaz at first if you can, and leave left field open for Reggie Smith in center, Conigliaro, and forget the left fielder, Tommy Harper. But anyway, so George Scott was moved from Boston to Milwaukee, and eventually he gets moved back to Boston later in the decade. But anyway, he's here now, and he's up at the plate with runners at second and third and 2 outs. The pitch to George Scott. 55 off the Klimkowski card. This is going to be trouble. Triple, 1-7. It's single ... We'll score both runs. 2 more unearned runs. Milwaukee again. They could have won 3 or 4 straight, at least early on. Steve Hovley walks. Jerry McNertney, 34, pitcher. One thing the Brewers have to be encouraged about is the fact that they've been able to get runners on, every game against this Toronto pitching staff. And if you recall, a few weeks ago, Toronto played Baltimore, and Baltimore could not hit a lick against Toronto and barely won those games. Milwaukee's doing a much better job than Baltimore, if you want to consider the direct correlation, Milwaukee's offense versus Baltimore's offense. So that's good news for our young Brewer team. Top of the fourth, 3-0. Milt May, 5'10", center X. Hovley's a 3-7 in center field, makes the catch. Jim Brazil, 69 is a single. There goes a no-no. Tommy Agee, 66, second X. This is Schofield, former Blue Jay, a 3 at second base, and that's a GBA. Bottom of the fourth. Here is Schofield, 34, pops short. Darrell Porter, 39 is a walk. J.L. Liu looking for his third hit, 4-4, center X. Again, AG a 1E14 in center field, makes the catch. And with 2 outs, Don Mincher, 39 is a walk. 2 on, 2 outs, Jim Fregosi, 1-5 is a grounder to short. 3-7 in the fifth for Mike Torres, having a great start. Mike Lum, 3-12 is a strikeout plus injury. He will have to leave. Toronto actually has pretty good, very good outfield defense anyway. Lum was a 2E10. Morrell can play the outfield as a 2E8, so he'll go in there to left. Voss will go to right. Bill Voss, 58, pops to third. Carl Taylor, 55, rolls to second base, a one-hitter. As we go to the bottom of the fifth, let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
John Briggs leads it off, 56. Off Klimkowski, double 1 to 4, double. George Scott, 35 is a walk. You see the Brewers just continue to chip away in this series. Steve Hovley, 55, and we're getting to end game here. Triple 1 to 5, single dot dot is single dot dot. You got runners on the corners with nobody out. He's a relief 3, starter 7, so we'll let him continue. Try and at least see if he can make it through to the 6th inning. If they bat around, we'll consider him broken. They're going to play back down 4-zip to hopefully get a double play ball. Jerry McNertney, 4-8, second X. Here we go. 4-11 at second base. It's a ground ball B, but a run will score. So runner at first, 1 out for Schofield. 65, center, and with 2 outs, Darrell Porter. 110. Double 1 to 17 is going to be a double for Darrell Porter. Another run scores. Oh, he doesn't score. I'm sorry. He was on first base at the fielder's choice. So it's second and third, 2 outs, and it's JLU. 55 off Klimkowski again. Triple 1 to 7 is a 2-run triple. Again, this is you like to yank these guys when they're struggling like this as starters. But he's going to try and get through the 5th inning. Don Mincher, 2-6 is a walk, and this will be the final batter with runners on the corners and 2 outs and 4 across. Jim Fregosi, 65, center field. We'll hook him after 5. It is now 7-0, and it's been a pretty one-sided series. And I know Milwaukee's probably kicking themselves. They had no realistic chance of winning their division with such a poor team and a poor start. But getting a sweep really would have made the overall one-loss record, cut into that a little bit. Darrell Cheney, 5'11", right X. Alduza, 3-12 in right field, makes the catch. Terry Crowley, 56, flies to right. And Dan Monson, 3-12 to Lomax. All right, Klimkowski going after 5. We'll go through the Toronto bullpen for 3 innings, starting with Dick Ellsworth. Again, Toronto, the whole staff's actually pretty good. There's, Ellsworth, he actually was a Milwaukee Brewer in 1970. And he was 3-3 with a 3.81 ERA. And leading off in the 6th will be Johnny Briggs. 48 pops to third. George Scott, 33, grounds to short. Steve Hovley, 43, flies to left. And Voss, it's actually Morel's a 2-8 in left field, and he makes a 2-base error, the new outfielder. And Jerry McNertney, 55, second X. This is Monzon again, a 4-11, single dot. That's another unearned run. Toronto clearly playing like an expansion team. They have played much better against Baltimore earlier this year, but they've been really playing poor baseball for the last 4 games. Dick Schofield, 2-9. Let's take a look at Dick Schofield's card. So, not a very good card. He was with Toronto last year. It's 187 with this card, but Milwaukee needed a switch hitter, utility infielder to play all positions, and Schofield qualifies that. He has rolled 2-9 on his card, as you can see. This is the 3rd time. Triple 1 to 16, single dot, and he has yet to hit a triple. This time, however, 2-9, he finally gets to third base, rolling a 5, and that is a triple. It is now 9-zip. Darrell Porter, 57, second X. Monzon makes the play. Torres, presented with a 9-0 lead and a 1-hitter into the 7th inning. Milt May, 1-7's a K. Jim Brazil, 45, short X. This is Fregosi, a 2, 22, makes the play. Tommy A.G., 48, is a single. Morel, 55, rolls to second base. Stretch time here today in Milwaukee. We have been enjoying the sounds of big stars Keep an Eye on the Sky compilation. Oh, it's about 5 hours of Big Star outtakes. If you're into that sort of thing, 5 hours of Big Star, this is the place to go. You got 98 songs on this playlist. Alternate versions, demos, some live stuff. Yeah. Prolific in the studio, but not necessarily big record sales generated from it. At least not when they were live. They didn't generate a lot of record sales. Now, of course, everybody loves them. Bottom of the 7th, 9-0 game. We're just going to rotate through the bullpen of Toronto so not to wear any particular pitcher out. That's usually been their strategy. If they pitch a single inning, they can usually come back for the next game. Of course, there probably won't be a next game in this one. So they can finally enjoy some time off. JLU, 57 is a K. Don Mincher, 53, first C. And Fregosi, 47 is a K. Torres continues into the 8th inning with a 2-hit shutout. Voss, they're going to let him go for it too. As soon as they give up a run, I'll probably hook him. Base hit for Voss. Carl Taylor, 34 lines a second. Darrell Cheney, 1-7, is a single to right. You got 2 on, 1 out. He is a starter 8. He's about to break. Terry Crowley, 37 is a K with 2 outs. Dan Monson, 58, is a liner to short. Torres will take his shutout into the 9th inning. All right, Toronto in the 8th inning will send Joe Grisenda out there to rotate through this bullpen. It'll be Johnny Briggs, 63, pitcher X. He's an E0 pitcher, makes the play. Riker comes in for him defensively. George Scott, 310, flies left. And Steve Hovley, 57, is a K. All right, so here's Mike Torres, one of his best pitched games in Strat in a long time, going for a shutout. It'll be Milt May leading off in the 9th, 2-6 grounds a short. Jim Brazil, 59, pops to second, and with 2 outs, Tommy A.G., 58, pops to short. Get the feeling the Blue Jays just kind of going through the motions and jubilant that they had 3 good innings in Game 1 to pull victory out of the jaws of defeat, and after that, a whole lot of nothing. And the dream of a 500 season seems to be kind of gone up. Torres, complete game shutout, 4-hitter, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts in his CGSO. Grisenda, struck out a batter. Hennigan, struck out 2. Ellsworth gives up 2 hits, 2 runs, none are earned because of the error. Komkowski takes the loss. He was brilliant last time we saw him against Baltimore, and today, more like a journeyman pitcher. 8 hits, 7 runs. He wasn't helped. Nothing's earned early. 4 earned runs in the 5th. The first 3 were unearned. 7 walks, 2 strikeouts. That's going to hurt the old Toronto team ERA a little bit. They're still overall doing well. 1-0-9, 0-1-0-8, 9-10-0-4, 2-3-7-5, 7-5-2-3. That is Game 4, in which Toronto wins Game 1, Milwaukee wins the next 3. And when you look at the overall records, you'll see that this is pretty much a non-factor in the overall structure of the American League. Milwaukee is now up to 5 wins and 10 losses. They came into this 2-9, of course, and they, after that devastating loss, the collapse in Game 1 and sitting at 2-10, they were on a collision course with worst overall record in Strat. But this 3-game winning streak should help them avoid that dubious distinction. They're hitting .266 with .358 team ERA. Not bad numbers at all for an expansion team. Jim Colburn, 1 win in the series. He's 1-4 for the year. And not much else to report there from Milwaukee. Toronto now falls to 7-11 and hitting .231 with a .370 ERA. The average is going down. The ERA is going up. That's not what you want to see. However, in the role of commissioner award, they're doing quite well and leading all teams in Commissioner Award points. Just to recap what Commissioner Award means, it's roster utilization. You take the pitcher with the fewest innings, that number, and multiply it by the player with the fewest at-bats. In this case, it would be 12 times 27 to get to 324. And the team who, at the end of the postseason, has the highest factor, the highest Commissioner Award factor, gets an extra draft pick in next year's draft. So maybe this season, that's what Toronto's goal will be, to win the Commissioner Award and get that extra draft pick. They've frankly done a good job utilizing their pitchers through necessity, and they've played a lot of baseball games. That's how you kind of win that award. So they're a spunky group, but just it doesn't necessarily translate to wins. Year to date now for the league, we are 232 games in. The league's hitting .261 with a .389 ERA. That's it today. Congratulations, Milwaukee Brewers. You won a series. Good for those guys. Thanks for checking this out, and we'll see you next time.